Hello, 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 everyone. I want to welcome you to the beginning of a new series that we are starting, and it's called Building Stronger Children, Building Stronger Families. And today I have the opportunity of a lifetime to introduce you to a majority of my board of directors. I have a group of phenomenal women that serve and help me to carry out this vision of Little Hands, Big Hearts. And I'm so honored to be able to present them and some of their family members here today. And I'm going to have you to introduce yourself shortly. But before I do, I always want to share the mission of Little Hands, Big Hearts. And our mission is to develop little people into servant leaders who think beyond themselves for the greater good through explicit and intentional opportunities for character development, selfless service to others, and community-based volunteering. And so we always try to stick with our why in the things that we do. This year, we've kind of expanded in that we are focusing on families because you can do all you can to support a child, but they have to go back into a family. And so our mission has expanded a little bit to focus on families and just offering supports and information to develop families to be stronger, to be more resilient, to be healthier. So that is the kickoff for the series today. Today's segment is entitled Family Redefined. And I think it's just appropriate. We have such a diverse group of people that are participating today in terms of family. We have single parent families, we have widowed, we have married nuclear families, what was considered nuclear families. We just have it runs the gamut basically. So I'm excited for you to hear just some of their stories and to have them participate. And I thank you all for joining us. I would like to start with introductions. We'll go with the McQueens, then we'll go with the Dortches, and then we'll go with LaShawn Spalding, and I'm Nikki Anthony. Yeah, but we'll start with the McQueens, and you all can introduce yourselves.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy McQueen, and I do appreciate all that our founder has really put in place for our Little Hands, Big Hearts organization. And I am so proud to have my family here. This is, and I don't, you can laugh all you want to, but this is my man, Reverend Dr. Marvin Alexander McQueen, the first of almost 40 years. We thank God for that. And we have our children. There was some old 80 babies, Nikki. And we have Reverend Dr. Marvin Alexander McQueen II. And we have our daughter, Catherine Mary Janice Willie Seymour. So I'm so proud to see them. I'm having them today.
Amen. I'm Eva Dortch. My daughter was here, but she had to leave. And I'm so honored to be a part of this great organization. It's been a blessing to me and to those that I know that have seen the presentations, have witnessed the events we've carried out. Such a great mission. Um, so I'm here, and maybe my daughter might step in again, but I'm glad to be here and be a part of it.
Good morning. I'm LaShawn Spalding. My husband is Dale Spalding, and I have two daughters, Alexis and Aaliyah, 23 and 25. Based in Dallas, Texas, but I lived in Jacksonville for a good time. But I'm very proud to be a part of this organization and all the work that Nikki has put into the organization. So thank you all for having me.
All right. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. And as you have comments, please put them in the comment section. We'll get to those as quickly as we can. If we don't do it during the segment, I'll definitely follow up. So just jump into our questions. I think this one is a fun one, but just to kind of start the conversation off, do you all think that parental perfection is a real thing? Parental perfection. Do parents make mistakes? If so, how do you right the wrong with your child? Should you right the wrong with your child?
I'll go first. Of course, parents. I think that parents make mistakes. You know, from the time when you have your first child, you've never been a parent before, and all you have to look to is your history. So I think that parents do make mistakes, and children are little people, so they deserve to know. They deserve to be apologized to. They deserve to know that adults do make mistakes, so they won't hide things. So I'm very open with my kids.
And I totally agree. And like you said, because no one is perfect, and we didn't get a manual when we got the little people. We just got the little people, and a lot of hopes and dreams. So, and you do your best with what you know, and like you pull on your history, how your parents raised you, and some it was good, and some it not so good, and those that weren't so good, and you just try your best not to deliver that to your kids. But again, you just work with what you know, and if you do make mistakes, then do apologize, and that'll build confidence in them. Well, when mom didn't always get it right, but then she let us know she didn't get it right. She didn't just like do what I say do. And I have done that sometimes. Do what I say do because I say do it. Because some things need to be done. But for the most part, you just apologize to your kids when you don't get it right, and then but don't let them use that to put the guilt trip on you. If you make mistakes and you made a mistake, and we all learn from the mistakes. That's my position.
All right. Yes. I was asking my husband. I said, "You want to talk on this one?" He said, "No." Mm-mm. But anyway, I know that in our family, again, God has blessed us to be together, and we just put it focus that we want to do and raise in the fear of God, do it God's way. Of course, in our life, we know we're not perfect and never, on this journey, we're trying to reach perfection, but we have made some mistakes, yes. But we always tell our children, again, we stress that, hey, you can be better, you can do everything, but put God first. And we want to make sure that, yes, when I do make a mistake, when we make a mistake, yeah, we apologize, we sure do. And we let them know, hey, you again, we want you to do what God says, put him first, and this is how we're going to be raised and do what he in his plan. So again, yes, we apologize, we help, we do what we need to do to help them, and although they are adult people, we just ask God to continue to keep them and let them raise their kids in the fear of God. So the cycle that when you start that journey, then you can making sure that hey, it's our God's plan. So we do honor God for all things, and we praise God for them.
Yes. Hey, hello. So I love it. It's a different generation. So how we were raised, like my mom said, the fear of God, keeping God first in everything we do. Again, nobody is perfect. But I know apologize to your kids. Yes, let's do that. Yes, we do fall short sometimes. So let's say if I screamed at my son and I had a bad day, I said, wait, let me apologize. That wasn't even you. There was something happened before I got home. So yes, it's good to apologize. Make sure that they do feel loved and everything. Like I said, parenting is so different now from in the different generations. So a lot of parents do not spend time with their kids and things like that, or don't even communicate with them. So when communicating and apologizing to them, that is a very good thing.
So I have a quick question based on that question. What character traits are you either teaching your children when you apologize or bypassing when you don't apologize for mistakes that you make?
I think apologizing teaches integrity and character, and it teaches honesty. I think that when you don't and things just happen, I think you teach people to hide and cover mistakes instead of just being honest. So honesty and character and integrity would be my things.
And again, confidence that they can really talk to you about. Mom, this hurt. This um, you know, I don't know what happened, but I didn't like the way I felt or whatever it is. When this happened or whatever, and you responded to it, and it builds the confidence that they can talk to you and not get beat up. about feeling how they feel, and that's important as well.
I will add, I totally lost my train of thought. It literally just went just like that. I'm gonna come back to it though. I'm gonna come back to it. We'll just go to the next question. It's gonna come back to me. I know it is. The next question: talk about leadership in your home from both the parent perspective and for those who are children, the children's perspective. What did leadership look like in the home growing up, or as you were raising your children?
Now, I do want my husband to talk about that. That's what we believe. Yes, I do. I want him to say that.
Good morning, and again, thank God for everyone. Uh, Unfortunately, and yet fortunately, the unfortunate portion is that so many homes are beyond dysfunction. And that is due to the arena of not having followers and leaders. I was always taught to be a great follower, you must be a great leader. If you notice, I use that term great in front of each one. In the home, it is so imperative that the leaders, mom and dad, actually be the example. I heard one of the young ladies say to do as I do. Sometimes parents do say that, and no offense to you mamas, but mamas normally say you just do it because I said do. No offense, but normally what fathers would do, those fathers that are in the home, normally what we do is try to be the example. I actually tried to show my son certain things, and then I tried to show my daughter certain things that would be pivotal in growing up. Most people don't know that our son happens to be the pastor of our church. Most people don't know that. Our church is not a quote unquote small church, and there's no size in churches. But our son pastors a little over 450 people. Okay, I'm overseer, and folk don't understand how is it that I can follow my son. I say it's very simple. When you are a leader, you can't help but to follow. When you can follow, you can lead. That's what's wrong with our homes today. I think Catherine said something about raising the kids, these generation. The bottom line is you have to raise that child in the way that the Bible says go. Are you going to make mistakes? Yes. But as Miss LaShawn said and Miss Eva said, then you have to have integrity and you have to have character to say, you know what, I was wrong. You got to say, daddy wrong, mama wrong, auntie, whoever. But then you have to also be careful who else is planting seeds in your child. Because the bigger I'm finding, because I do work in an alternative school setting, I'm finding that it's so many negativities that's being deposited from family members, not outside, not the community, but they're being deposited. So I thank God that while we raised our children, we were very careful where they went as far as relatives. That's enough. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I speak back on what everybody is saying. Leadership in the home, two different perspectives. Children are looking for a model, and parents, we're looking for the influence. Once we model that influence, like we were taught, like my father just said, we were definitely taught leadership. He taught me some things inadvertently and directly. He said, "This is what you do. You look at someone in their eyes. This is what you do. You don't walk with your head down." Simple things that we're seeing through our social injustice that we're going through right now. Hey, you don't look like you're guilty. You don't walk with your hands in your pocket. Take your hat off in the building. Those small things, those leadership characteristics that we all need. And with all of our children, I have three, and so I'm doing the same exact thing. Let's teach them not just how you were raised, but take those principles in order for you to really understand, like, I'm a model now. I had someone model it for me. Now it's my turn to model it for someone else. And I think if we carry that through every generation, we'll definitely build some stronger families.
Can I just say just one thing? as you're talking about leadership and our role models, everywhere me and my brother go, they know we're the McQueen children. From what we look like, how we dress, how we speak. Oh, you're Kathy and Marvin's daughter. They all know that. I don't say anything. Oh, you're Kathy's daughter. The way you act, how I respect my elders. I'm always a yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's what I've been taught. Yes, sir, no, sir. So they know it's us. And then how we like my mom's always like shine. So if I say something wrong or do something wrong, oh no, I'm gonna tell your mama. No, I'm wrong now, mind you, but I'm still tell your mama that I saw you here or there. So yeah. So good role models. What Daddy said about how he raised us. For me, it wasn't that I couldn't go anywhere. I know he showed me, but he showed me in a positive way. So now I actually have a lot of mentees because of it. From what he's taught me, what my mother has taught me, girls should be seen and not heard. I cannot stand loud. I'm a teacher. If they get loud, I cannot stand, especially with girls. Respect yourself enough to keep your inside voice. Just little things just like that. And I always tell my dad and mom, say kindness and respect will take you a long way. There are many times we have went out. I promise you, I haven't paid for anything because I respect them and staying kind. That's how my blessings honestly have came because of the good leadership that we had.
That's good. That's very good. I was kind of raised the same way. So for those who don't know, Eva Dortch is also my aunt. So if you see a look-alike, that's because we are related. Um, she's my aunt, and I call her my auntie mama. And my mom and her are sisters. We're sisters. Before my mom passed away, that's her sister. And it was a lot of the same upbringing, just like Catherine said, they encouraged me to be a leader. So it was never like you take the back seat, to a guy or any. It was nothing like that. My dad is the same way. He's always pushed me in the forefront. You are a leader. But it was just a certain way that I had to carry myself as a leader. Know what you're talking about when you walk in the room. Be prepared when you walk in the room. You don't have to overtalk anyone. People who know me, they always say, "Oh, you have such a soft-spoken voice," but you better believe that anytime I need to get a point across, I'm going to do that. And those are things that, just like Catherine said, I learned those from the models that I had. My mom was a strong woman, very strong woman, even fighting, battling cancer and lymphedema. Like, I watched her, be an advocate still for other people. I watched these things. So it is definitely how you are raised, and those leadership qualities, they don't start, once you become 18 or an adult. Like, I was groomed into leadership as a child. I have a story on my Facebook where my mom and my aunt, I was a caretaker for my grandfather when he was in the nursing home, and we would go, and I would, every opportunity I could, I would go feed him. We would fight to comb his hair. He had this soft, just like my auntie's hair, just like cotton. We just play all in it, all of this. And it began to spread to other residents who didn't necessarily have family members that came to see them as regularly as we saw my granddad. And there was a lady, she had Alzheimer's, and I won't say her name, but she had Alzheimer's. And when my cousins and I would walk through, the floor at the nursing home, she would always refer to us as the N word. Always. And I remember, when we first heard it, I was like, man, I'm about to go get my mom. I'm going to get my auntie. They about to lay into this old lady. This white lady finna get it. That's what I thought was going to happen. But the challenge was put out there to us and to me. What are you going to do? Like, she's sick. She's referring to you from a place of sickness. So what are you going to do about it? And that was a defining leadership moment in my life, learning how to take that challenge of loving the unlovable, of loving people who hurt you, who spite you, who call you stuff that you are not, who speak to you from a place of hatred. That was a defining moment for me in terms of leadership. I was 10 years old. Everything in me told me my auntie and my mama should have been in there like, we finna get her. I don't care if she's sick or not. They didn't do that. Part of me was disappointed, but the older part of me is like, okay, well, thank you. It worked out. All things work together. So just like Kat said, these moments, like, they start in your childhood and they carry on into your adulthood. So, those of you who are raising little people, you have the ability to form the leader that is in them, but you start now. So does anybody else have anything to add or share before we move?
And I think as before Micah passed, that the parents have to be on a unified front. So whatever is said, it has to be carried out, whether you agree with the person or not. In the presence of the kid is right. And then when it's over, then you decide, discuss it with the partner, the things that you didn't feel were right. But the kids never knew, that we didn't agree. And that way they can't use it. How one parent used it against, the kid uses one parent against the other. Well, mom said, dad said no, but, and then that, what they see in that, then they'll know even when they become parents, a husband and wife, that, well, you know what? I couldn't get away with it, with my mom against my dad and my dad against my mom. And so whatever they say, we just got to go through it, just got to work our way through it because they're not going to budge as a team. It has to be a team effort, or even if it's just a parent and child, like me for the latter years, whatever I said, I had to stick with what I said because you have to be consistent with the leadership portion. Because if today I'm in a good mood, and they come and ask me what they asked me yesterday when I wasn't in a good mood, and I changed my mind. So the kids can think, well, shoot, this might be a good day. I might catch on a good day and I can get what I want. But if you're consistent and persistent with whatever you say, that's just been a character in my life because that's how my parents were. If they said it, that's it. That's it. And you come back and don't hound me about it. We'll come back and revisit it later if it's appropriate. But whatever is said, whatever decision we made, then the consequences for the action. So I just think that builds qualities too, because they know it is what it is. So that's
So I was a single mom for most of from the time that they were 8. Alexis was 8, until I got married, till I met and married Dale. For me, leadership was to help them to be better leaders because there was no dad in the home at the time. They had a great relationship with their dad, but because he was not in the home, I really involved them. So if I wanted them to make biblical decisions, I would involve them. If there was a situation that came up, I involved them in the process of making a decision. I didn't allow them to make the decision, but I just involved them in it. So because I did grow up with the do what I say, and there was no question about it, but I had a question with that. So I just decided to be a little bit different. So they would make better choices based upon decisions that they were involved in. They didn't get to run the house, but they were just a little more involved. This is why, because I kind of went out into the world because decisions had been made kind of for me. So I had to develop leadership later on, but to help them get to a different place, I allowed them to be just involved in the process. This is why you can't go. This is why you can't do that. Does that make sense to you? Not just no, but does it make sense to you that you can't go in a car with 5 other teenagers? Does it make sense to you? And so they would come back to me. I remember Alexis was just a freshman in high school, and one of her friends, she had asked me to go. We had just moved back to Florida, and one of her friends invited her to a little sleepover. And we didn't grow up doing sleepovers unless it was family, and sometimes not even with family. So they weren't allowed to do sleepovers. I'm like, I know my house. I don't know everybody else's house. So she couldn't go. And the girls snuck out the window. And this was in Sarasota. And they were into a horrible accident. All 5 of them died in the car. And I said to her, so now does that make sense to you that I would need to know? And I'm like, always be very honest with me. So just if you involve them in the process, like for single parents, if you really and you break out the Bible, this is why, we don't do what everybody else does. We're Christians. We don't do that. I was constantly explaining to him, because we are Christians, we don't make the decisions that everybody else make, but involve them in the process though. This is why.
That's good. So when you are involving them in the process, children have different personalities and whatnot. How do you allow them to have a little bit of decision making power or ability without just balancing that, so they don't think like, oh, okay, well, I always have a say, because you have to grow into this. It's levels to this. I always say that it's levels to this. You don't just jump in. You ain't paying no bills here or anything. So what would be or what, I guess, advice would you offer a parent who wants to begin allowing their child to make certain decisions or have just some say in sharing about whatever is going on, but without but balancing that so that the child does not over assume a role that they should not, assume. If I may, hopefully that makes sense.
For me, it would be as simple as give them a little bit of responsibility, because you don't get rights without responsibility. It's like any other thing. You don't get rights without responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
If I can trust you to clean your room, then I can trust you a little bit to go, to sit outside without me watching. And that's just like at an 8-year-old level. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
can't even pick up your room, so you're not ready to make decisions. This is a part. You have a process of how you clean your room. That's your choice, how you get the room done. I said to get it done. You know what I mean? So you give them that freedom. You can decorate your room however you want. It has to be clean. We're not leaving stuff on the floor. So if they can start inside the house, it really started for me with the girls inside the house. You don't get to make any choices outside the house until you master how you're going to get this room done, how this bathroom is going to be clean. You just start somewhere there. And then you are like, once you show me, every day, I don't have to keep saying to you, clean the bathroom. That's a part of your chore. Then I know I can trust you a little bit more. And if you want to increase your allowance or whatever it is, they knew, okay, well, if I want this, then I need to make good grades. So they still feel responsible. They have the right, but they also have the responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's really good. Anybody else? Dr. McQueen?
Yes, thank you for that, believing it's coming. Okay, what I wanted to say, in a sense that we did teach our children, being responsible, yes, told them about cleaning up, even though right now, my thing is you come here, you can do what you do. Hey, as long as you clean up, that's all I say. But one incident that we had to really teach, well, my husband had to really teach my son to drive early because, again, you try to rely on family, but that is all the case. Well, I was picking up my nephew from school because he got a certain time, and because Pastor Marvin was playing basketball, my sister got out a little later at the same time as she was to pick him up. So I will switch off that way. But lo and behold, the time kept looking at the clock, and she hadn't gotten here with him. And now we get to bother us. So we loaded up, and Catherine was we had put her in the car too, because she was still in school. And our son was out there by himself. The coaches left him. He was in the neighborhood, Paxson. And hey, everybody knows no safe neighborhood, right? I don't care where you live. There's no safe neighborhood. And so we saw these guys walking up and down, right there. And he was standing out there by himself. And my husband, oh boy, he was like, And thank God we had enough cars that he could drive to school. But at the time, because you're 16, and then we're not going to allow you to really go to school without having a driver's license. Now, we real deep, here we go. And so what happened, my husband got him in that car. Oh boy, I'm glad I wasn't in there because he was telling me what he was telling him. He taught him to drive. I'm serious, y'all. He taught him to drive for a couple of hours. That was it. He already put him in the seat, when it was small. He always put him in his lap and it just, drive like this. But honey, he taught my son, tell you go dot, 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 and you better do dot, 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 and you better not go, and you better not pick up dot nobody. When you get that practice, you take yourself and you bring yourself home. And he had your sister in there, and y'all dot, 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 y'all better not go. Hey, and I was like, this is what, you had no choice. You just had to do what I say, syndrome, because of safety. And that was one thing I will never forget, because I really it would bother me, because I said I was doing something to help my family and they forgot my child. So, we weren't that religious right there. They ain't gonna tell no lie, because I ain't no fantasy, nothing like that. We ain't go off the chain. But we did make sure, and that was really a great responsibility. So they learned how to drive real early. All right.
Also, if I can add to the board, our children have always been responsible in that when we gave them experiences at eating at restaurants, not just the McDonald's or the Burger Kings, but there were many times that we went to a sit-down restaurant and they actually could order their food. They were very frugal in that, and so we noticed that at a young age for both of them. And many times I do brag on on my children. I brag on my grandchildren. I really do. Me and my wife, we often say that we're blessed because, yes, they are educators and they did not want to be educators. I can tell you that. Our son not only is pastor, but he's also a site director. Catherine is a school teacher. They both have advanced degrees. So we are blessed. But going back to when they were very young, they had responsibility. I think Miss LaShawn said something about responsibilities. And so they built up responsibility as early as 5 and 6 years old. I'm very serious in that. So they actually had the opportunity to make decisions that would affect them. And so we're grateful. And one thing that we've often said to our children, my wife said, we always say, you acknowledge God, ask him. Even now, I mean, they have families, I say their spouses, I say, still, you ask God, is this what we need to do? I tell everybody this, I'm not going to stay in the house. Personally, my wife and I, we will go, now we won't sit down places because there's COVID-19, but we go places. That's a no. And I taught them that if you go, my pet peeve to my children, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and my grandchildren is this: watch your surroundings. That does not mean just that. Sometimes I will point at my head, and they know that means think before you do or say anything. Thank you. That's all.
Yeah. And I was when Pastor McQueen was talking about the kids at restaurants. I remember this one time. This sticks in my mind. We were going to Georgia. I had two sisters, and so each of us had two kids. So we call our children much right children. One sister had as much right to take care of them as the other did, right? So we'd load up. I had a van. My sister had a van, but we'd all pile up. And this one time we were going up to Georgia, with just Nikki's mom and me, and we had all 6 kids plus one extra. And so we stopped at Ryan's up in Waycross. You remember that, Nikki? Up in Waycross to eat at Ryan's. Us and 7 kids, right? Just 2 women. And so everybody went in and sat down with what they know to do. Well, these 2 older white ladies, they just so amazed. Wow, I can't believe how those kids are just sitting there. And we're looking like, what? Hello, this is what they know, this kind of thing. But and again, it's how you bring them up. It's the leadership you put in them, and like they've always been responsible. They know, what the standards are. You have to have standards, and they know what the standards are. They've known it, and then they just walk in those standards. So I just want to just add that little incident.
One more little thing I just want to add. So I remember with my daughter, again, single mom, and they hated pumping gas, right? But that was their responsibility. And it wasn't because I was lazy and I didn't want to pump gas. And they now get it. They completely get it now that you have your own car, you have to pump gas. None of this stuff is free. And they needed to see how much it costs, how much, and I really was very, very open with them. Like, this is how much of your life you're giving away for a tank of gas. So I have to work this many hours to get this. So really, I think very young, if we start to teach them just the little foundations of life, you pray first. When you open your eyes, you pray. As soon as you open your eyes and before your feet hit the floor, you say thank you. And that's how we started our day every morning. It didn't change no matter what. And before they come out of the room, did you say thank you for waking me up? Did you, and then it went from there. But the little things like, every time we pull up to the gas station, mommy's not getting out of the car. I'm driving you around, you pump the gas, because you're going to want a car, because as soon as they turn 15, I want to drive. Well, you have to put gas in the car. So it's little things that you can teach them along the way that once they start to fly, they'll be okay.
I remember my nephew, the oldest nephew, Anthony, he would stay on the weekends with my dad and I, between both of our homes. And I remember I told him, we got to wash clothes. So I need you to go get your clothes together. And I went off to do something. When I came back, he was 3 at the time. When I came back, I see him on my washing machine. He has cut it on and he's getting ready to dump a whole bunch of clothing detergent in the washer. And I was like, no. And he was like, Auntie Auntie, but you said we got to clean, we got to wash clothes. I don't know how he knew how to turn it on, except he had been watching, he had been paying attention. So, all of that to say that your kids are paying attention when you don't think they're paying attention. They are watching you. You're modeling something even when you don't know that you're modeling something. You are demonstrating something. So just be mindful of your actions. Whatever you want to get out of them, be mindful of what you're putting into them, purposely or inadvertently. Just be mindful of that. Anybody else before we go to the next question? And thank y'all. This is good conversation. I hope y'all are getting something from this. I am. What did discipline look like in your home back then for the parents? LaShawn kind of talked about her upbringing, and we've talked before. So if you want to speak to that, you're more than welcome, because I'm sure hers looks a little different from her upbringing. What did it look like when you were rearing your children? And for Catherine, for Dr. Marvin, what does it look like now that you all are rearing your children? Is it different? Is it the same? Did you redefine discipline? Since we're talking about redefining family, did you redefine discipline from what it looked like when you were growing up? Uh-oh, this looks like it's going, all right, it's going to get popping.
Oh, this is good. This is good. It's good. That's what it is. The discipline us, how they discipline us, and I got most of, or the discipline, if you will. I'm very outspoken. I'm not scared to ask for anything, or if something bothers me, I'm going to tell. Sometimes I talk a little bit too much, and mother would have to, discipline me, if you will. Now, Daddy, I've always scared of his looks. He'll look at me, I can cry. It's just the look. It's just, you probably have mother, the discipline. I'm going to the question again. How I do my kids is a little bit similar. They're not scared of me, but they don't play with me. Don't do that. Because if I taught you how to respect, how to act, while we're out in the grocery store, restaurant, you do that. So mine's kind of a little bit similar. Because my dad and mom did not play. They're kind of sweet, but that parent side, that, and you just get even to this day, I have my little tongue. My mama, she said, "What you said?" No, ma'am, nothing. So I keep all those thoughts to myself. But just the discipline for me is for my children, it's very similar. So that is, we got discipline. But can you talk about your discipline? Mine was a little different from yours.
No,
It was more quiet.
yeah, no, you miss all the alone time with dad, so that's quite different. I think discipline for us growing up was, what are you representing? There is something bigger than you that you can't see right now, but later on you'll understand a bigger picture. And that was our discipline. That's how we learned it. It wasn't about, I've never heard my parents say, y'all making me look bad. It wasn't never that. There was no personal type of vendetta that was going on between us. So it was like, this is how I want you to, I want to guide you to something better. I don't want to compare what their childhood was, because only they would know it. So um, I always heard this term, you put the fear in the child. I heard that term, and I was like, that just don't sound right. Why you want somebody to be scared of you? But it wasn't that fear. It was the fear of the second definition of that, reverence. It was, what are you representing? Who are you standing in the gap for? Who's be prepared to know that somebody is always watching you, whether they know your name or not. Somebody's paying attention to you. And so when you do get of age and you do have children, you want that same fear of what's going on. And so that discipline looked good. Yes, there were belts involved. Yes, there were hands involved. But we're not dead, so I thank God for me being we're alive and we're well and we're good. So it's okay, and I'm not going to reference the Bible too much, but the Bible talks about training your child, talk about whipping your children, but you do it all in the aspects of love and really understanding what it means. Now, if you're a parent that's out there and you just don't know how to control it because you're angry at everything that you're going on, first of all, you didn't need no children. That's first of all. But second thing is, get control of that. Get control of understanding what is a family, how we can be strong, how we can be respectful, not just to outside people, because I see that a lot. A lot of people are more respectful outside the home than they are in the home. So we need all of that to a great balance, and that's what we were taught, and how it went. And so, hey, it was fun. It was fun, and I get to do it to my children. I tell them, say, yeah, you just can't do it because I said so. So I just like saying that line.
Wow. I know for me, so this is my aunt. I told y'all that. Um, so yeah, my mom and my dad and my aunts and they all believed in the power of the belt, the switch, the extension cord, the backhand, um, the front hand, the face smash. You know, I don't know. Like I saw, they believed in
Okay.
all of that. Okay, fine. Okay. I won't tell everybody everything. I think I died a few times. My mama killed me and brought me back a few times. So
No,
we've
please
gone
speak
through it
out.
all.
No, please speak
Resurrection,
out.
resurrection.
I had a praying mama. She brought me back. But all of that to say that I turned out all right. I turned out all right. I think she would be proud, you know. My dad always said, you just like your mom with my nieces and my nephews, that I'm tough. And I won't apologize for that. And I'm not saying just in terms of, you know, you whoop them and whatever, not like that. But I'm hard on them and I'm tough on them because I see something bigger, like Pastor Marvin was sharing. I do see something bigger. I've always been like that, even in the classroom. I will, with working with children with disabilities, you know, a lot of times they are kind of counted out and people just kind of let them do, you know, because they don't have high expectations. You know, you could do whatever, you know, that's not okay with me. And a lot of times I feel like I've been given the insight to see that there's something deeper, something bigger, and something greater. So I pull on that. I am very tough, you know, as an educator, and I don't make any apologies for it. I've had parents that initially they were kind of upset, like you don't understand that she has a disability or he has a no, I do understand it. I just know that it doesn't have to be a stumbling block in the future. And so we're gonna keep working. And if you don't want me to teach them, you're more than welcome to talk to the administration and get them moved to a different teacher. But as long as I'm their teacher, we're gonna go hard and they're gonna produce for me. And at the end of the year, Miss McQueen will tell you, like, I know how to change, how to flip a child. I did. And I still do, you know. So I don't make any I don't make any apologies for that. Anybody else want to share?
So we growing up, you know, it was the switch and the she had a belt, a leather belt. So my dad was disabled, so he didn't do it. He didn't do a lot. You know, nobody raised their voices, and people don't understand now how my kids pay attention to me because I don't raise my voice. My parents never yelled, screamed, or anything, so I don't know that. You know, I just don't. That's what I know to do, and they respond because you know, you just mean what you say, and that's my thing. But as far as I'm like Nick, I just lost my train of thought. But growing up with now with the kids that I with my kids, you know, it was I still would get the belt. No question there. If it warranted, but this was more if it was a belt warrant or not. If not, to punish him. Like sometimes with my son, only thing you could do, you could take care of everything for him, but didn't care. And I had to feed him, I had to have shelter for him. So that's the only two things that I left with. Sometimes that I would left him with was just food and shelter. But you know, it didn't matter because if he didn't want to do it, he didn't want to do it. So I had to get the belt, and the belts helped because you know they've grown up to be good kids. So I just thank God for that. So the belt works still. Like Pastor here, you know, and that's what the Bible teaches. You know, beat them, they won't die, and all live. We might have had to resurrect a couple, but they're here. Everybody's still here. Everybody's doing well. Respectable children, grew up to respectable adults, and they have respectable children. You know, that's you know a lot. And so I just thank God for that testimony of the kids. You know, the discipline works, uh, is different forms, but whatever works for your family. In some families, the belt won't help. You know, seemingly, I've heard people say that. You know, so it's just you take this from her, take that from her, and if that works and get the results you're seeking, and that's fine. But whatever works for your family, just and even the discipline is in love. The belts, you do that in love, and let them understand why. One time, someone said, "Mama, when you you gonna stop beating me? I said, well, when you stop doing things that warrant a beating, then I'll stop, you know. So we'll make that decision, and whenever you do that, then we'll just go do this. But anyway, so that's just how I grew up, and that's how I've disciplined my children. Like I say, in their lifetime, I've tried to be more diplomatic, a
Mhm.
little more than when I grew up, but seemingly it worked pretty well.
You're growing up. I'm proud of you. LaShawn?
So I'm a little. I think I'm a hodgepodge. I grew up with the board and the sword. I tell you what, we were a big family, and it was discipline. Like you got whoopings. It was just what it was. I think I died 7 times too, but I was completely different with my daughters. Now I did spank them. I just don't believe in spank. I don't believe that for me. Now, for me, what worked for us, spanking just did not solve a lot of things, because I think a lot of kids were starting to fight back, or that kind of thing. And I know if my child ever like swung at me because I'm hitting them, then I'm gonna have to kill them. So I did not. I didn't spank them a lot. I really didn't. So, but I talked to them a great deal. But I think that spanking is warranted if it's in love. Never spank when you are mad or upset. You have to really talk to them. This is why. This is what discipline you're going to get, and this is why. Like, I communicate with them, and I still do. I communicate with them all the time. You're going to get a spanking, and this is why. But I wouldn't do it when I was upset, and sometimes I didn't do it in a moment. Like, I had a little thing with them. I used to see children running from their parents, and that always terrified me, because I could be telling you to stop. It's going to save your life. I don't ever think it's funny when kids run away from their parents and their parents are calling them. And I taught them that very, very young. If you run away from me and I'm calling you, I'm going to spank you. That was the one time that I was spanking them, because I could be saving your life. You could be running in front of a car or anything. If I tell you freeze, you freeze right then, because I could save your life. And so I just was very authoritarian with my voice. Aaliyah will probably tell you, Aaliyah will probably tell you that I'm crazy, but I just mean what I say. But I didn't spank. I really didn't spank a lot, because I think a lot of the spankings that we got could have been a conversation. Could have been a conversation. That's just my opinion.
Anybody else before we move to the next question? Yeah. All right. So I kind of want to move into something just a little more endearing as we wrap it up. For the parents, so all of you are parents, and the parents who are with their children, Ms. McQueen and Dr. McQueen, what do you, as a parent, admire most about your child? What is one quality that sticks out to you about them? And then for the children, vice versa, what do you admire most about your parents? And I'll share about my daddy after y'all finish. My daddy.
Oh my goodness. Oh, my children. One thing I do, I'm just going to say this because God has really blessed us. I was very sick carrying my children to the point that, and then I don't never want to let nobody even get this from the doctor. I have done all that I can do. And I do praise God for them every time I see, I see them, or I think about how where we came from. My husband and I, he had to take on a whole lot because I was sick. Um, bless his heart. I just never forget. He just when he running back and forth to the hospital, seeing about me and being in ministry, and not he wasn't a pastor then, but he's always I say brother and deacon, all that. He just came up through the ranks of all of that. But he had to take on a whole lot where I couldn't do anything. I just could not. Couldn't eat, couldn't keep anything down. I was just not. But then I thank God because when each time my children were born, all the way 8 pounds, 8'11", 8'7". All right. Y'all might get a lottery number in there somewhere. But anyway, so they and every time they came out healthy, I thank God for that. They came out real healthy. And I do love the Lord. I did want 4, but God blessed me with 2. And I thank God for the 2. And they yes, y'all come short, yes. and we were laughing about the discipline part of it. Yeah, Catherine was a little humdinger, and Marvin, he's quiet. You know, he's always like that. You had to really, and you still do it now. You have to really ask them, "Whoo, is you okay? Are y'all okay, Catherine? Mom, let's say, Daddy, you know so and so, so and so." But that's okay. That's their personality. I'm glad they're different in that way. I never forget the doctor, the pediatrician said, "Your children, because of their being high, tall, this we're high, 3 feet tall, and my husband's very tall, and it's on our both sides of the family." And he said, "But don't let people use your children to be lifting this. Don't let them be doing this and that." I said, "Yes, sir. I listen to what you say, because again, it's and they always say it's a village to raise kids. Yes, it is, because soon as you get these babies home and not all that cute stuff going on." I talk to my kids even when they were in my womb. I talk to them, and I was disciplining to them too. And yeah, because they when they move around and stuff, I said, "Listen, it's time to go sleep. Now I gotta get some rest." Blah. You know, these is things that happen. But I do honor God for them. I thank God that have they honor the Lord in their life. I thank God for that. I thank God for them. And yes, we all come short. And yes, they do. They did some things that they thought we didn't know. I get an amen on that one. They think you didn't know a whole lot of things what they were doing. But God reveals a whole lot of things to your parents. He does. And I'm telling y'all, you live close to God, He will reveal. Sometimes they may not be at home, and especially with us, we raised them together with us. Everywhere we went, they went. Now, sometimes they don't take their kids all the way, and they think because they get older, they leave them home. I don't believe in that, and I'll tell them that anyway. But that's something they have answered to. But I do honor God for them. We stress to them always. You can be anything you want to be, God first. You got more going for you than against you. The Bible says, and that's my quote. But I always tell them, you can be. Yes, you can. You can. You don't have to step for the little. You're not the tail. You are the head. But you got to put God first. I thank God for them in their endeavors in life. God has really blessed them. Keep the faith. Hold on. Don't let go. That He can bless you to have a lot, but you just cannot leave Him out. And I always tell them that. I thank God for the admiration. I just say I love Him dearly. Yeah, I'm the one that always, they think I'm preaching or they use fussing. I don't fuss. I just be direct in what I say. But I don't like to use my opinion. I do what God tell me, and I spread the word. That's what I do. But I thank God for them, and I want God to continue to keep blessing them and keep them just growing in faith and using all the abilities that God has blessed them with. And I thank God they got finished their degrees. I just wanted. I always wanted. I was because Nikki, I'm a school counselor. So if I'm telling children that don't even know anything about me and they asking me, what, Miss McQueen, this, that, or Miss McQueen, I had this bad day. I'm Miss McQueen. Why can't I say, I'm going to tell my children? I'm going to tell them first. Now, instead of for me to go out and tell somebody else what to do, I am not telling you what to do. I just want you to think and then know that you can do better than you are. And you can do that. So again, I love them. And my husband, he loves them. He definitely do. As for Pastor Marvin, that's Pops. And for Catherine, Daddy. Okay? So I thank God for them always and just love them. And love my grandchildren. They better take care of my puddings.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love the question. Let me start here. You said, what do we admire about our parents? Oh my goodness, just everything.
Kat, can you talk a little bit
I can.
louder?
Oh, can you
Talk a
hear me? I'm
little bit
sorry.
louder. Yeah.
For can you hear me now? You're not gonna talk
Hmm.
that loud if you will. No, I do. For my parents, I speak with my mother every day. Now, Daddy's in the background, so I say, "Hey, Daddy," But me and Mama have we talk with my in the morning around 7:35. If it's too late, I say, "Oh, what's wrong with her?" 'Cause I'm gonna call the school to see what she got going on. But communicating with them I married them. They give biblical references to our lives. If I have some issues with the children or something else is going on, they always give me the word. Catherine, read this first because they know how I am. I have to have facts. What is it? So read this scripture, anything. Throughout my surgeries, I had 9 surgeries. And they were there for me every time. They didn't complain about them going to the hospital or bringing me something. They were there. So I can always kind of do anything, whether something large or something small. So I do thank God for them. I thank God for them that they provided for us. And I'm not talking about just like financial, but provided their love and their care. Because a lot of parents, they don't care for their children and they don't even show their love. I had to start actually learning how to hug. I wasn't a hugger. I was a don't touch me person. But just embracing them. When I do embrace my mom, I'm gonna start crying anyway. So just embracing that genuine love that they have for us. They do love their grandchildren, like because they're gonna like get us if we don't take care of them the right way. So they do love
That's a
their
whole case.
listen. They do love their grandchildren, so I do thank God for them. Let me talk about my children. I had 3. My first one passed away, so now I have Richard and James. Through my surgeries, my kids were there for me, so I can trust my kids. They're trustworthy, and also they're very responsible. I taught them early how to sweep and vacuum and clean up. I said, just in case something happened to me or your father, I need you to learn how to do this. Not saying that you have to, but just to teach them how to do it. So as they get older, they're now 12 and 15, so they know a lot of things because of what happened to me. But I do admire them. Yes, they were home by themselves a couple of times. I know mom, she doesn't like that, but they know what not to do. Do not put foil in the
Microwave.
microwave. So they don't do stuff like that. They're good kids. They're real good kids. So I do thank God for them.
I think one word that I could really, really say is the word consistency
Mhm.
in all caps. Whether it was respect, whether it was love, whether it was providing, provision, guidance, leadership, whatever words, intellect, wisdom, all of that, there was consistency. Even if they did not have it together, we never knew.
Yeah.
We never knew. And I think that's one word that'll stick out. Now, that's not the only thing, but just for the sake of this, I'm not going to just, because I'll be here about 4 or 5 days and I can talk about
We
it.
can talk about them.
But one thing about it, one thing is the consistency on every level. Everything was done. I know we say excellence, but there was a standard about it. And so, for you to say, hey, McQueen, you already know it's a standard that you need to go to. And the same way they showed it to us, we better do that same thing to other people and to our children as well. So we appreciate you, mom and dad.
All right. And the one word I'd use is compassion. Because my daughter, probably more so than my son, he's compassionate in his own way. He's so talented, he's a little MacGyver. But my daughter, she has such compassion. She wants everyone to win. That's her nature. So I just thank God for that. And the son can fix just about anything you got. So I thank God for that as well. uh,
Wow. So I would say I'll talk about my dad. I'll talk about my mom first. My mom, it was her strength. She put herself through college. Her and my aunt were the first to go to college in their family to finish. So my mom, just her strength and her tenacity, like she was very dogmatic, and I learned a lot, watching her life. She was very compassionate as well. She worked for hospice of Northeast Florida when it was hospice. And one thing when she passed away, just kind of her legacy was her smile, her kindness, and how she just loved people in that time of bereavement, and how she supported families even after, their loved one had passed. Like that was just her legacy of checking on people. And that was something that I learned from her, just that kindness and that love, loving on people the right way, loving people how they need to be loved. So that's my mom. My dad, if you know anything about, if you see a Facebook post or anything, my dad is a character. He is He's a jokester, but he's like a dad to everybody. He just loves people. He does. We have had some experiences in our family on both sides of my family. And he has become, like I call my auntie mom. He has become the uncle dad to, my cousins and whatnot. And he doesn't mind being that. So just his heart. And he's probably watching. He was supposed to be here, but I forgot. That's my fault. A lot going on. But Dad, I admire your heart for people and how you will be there for people. And I'm not selfish with my dad. I know like that's part of who he is. So, if anybody needs him, I'm usually like, wait, let me ask my daddy. You might want to talk to my daddy. It's okay. You could talk to my daddy. I will hire him out to be a dad to someone in need just because I trust his counsel. I know he loves people. He's coming from a good place. So that, and then with my aunt, I'll speak since her biological children aren't on here. She's so much like my mom, just her heart for people. She has done so much community wise, and it started at home. Like I learned a great deal watching her. Um, she is a giver. Anybody that knows her, like she will give her last. And she just recently retired. So she's gonna stop that. She's gonna stop that. She's gonna be living, y'all don't be coming to her asking for saying anybody got time for all that. Okay. Anybody got time for that. But yeah, she is a giver. And that's something that I've learned from her, my mom as well. Just that heart to give and to serve people. She serves well when she serves. So I admire that about her. We are at an hour, so I want to honor the time.
This was
Yeah,
good.
I'm glad. I'm glad. We'll take 30 seconds, only 30 seconds. The last question. Um, my one wish for you, for your children. So you're talking to your children. What's my one wish for you? 30 seconds.
You're on the board here. Oh.
Don't make me laugh. I, I don't just keep
30
on
seconds.
keeping on. Keep on keeping on. Keep God first. Yes. I started to say, well, y'all get that money. Yes, but just keep on keeping on. Be blessed, everybody.
And that they would prosper and be in good health, even as their souls prosper. That's my prayer for them.
Oh, that every heart's desire and promises of God be fulfilled and made manifest now in this life, not when they make it to heaven.
Yes, and my prayer for them is to be successful in their passions and keeping God first in everything that they do.
Say it one more time, a little bit louder.
Oh no, you didn't hear me. I'm sorry. My prayer for them is to be successful in their passions and keeping God in everything
Mhm.
that they do. Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. So I have some wishes for all of my board of directors. They all are like simultaneously retiring. Ms. McQueen don't know how to stay retired, but we're gonna pray that she stay retired this next time. But just and for parents also, for parents who are watching this, my one wish and prayer would be that you all realize that I think you never stop parenting. You may not parent the same way, but you never stop parenting. You grow as your children grow. Your ability to parent grows, as your children grow, so that you never stop parenting, but also that whatever your purpose is, that your life purpose, that it will be realized. You're not just someone's mom or dad. You're not just someone's grandma or grandpa. You are whoever you were created to be. You have passions that are individual just for you and just to you, so that you would follow those things and that you would be, even in your older lives, who you were called to be. And that's for my dad as well. I know you watching, so that's my prayer for you, that you continue to grow. You never hit a plateau in your growth. Continue to grow into who you are supposed to be in this dispensation and time of your life. So that is my prayer, my wish for my board of directors and for those parents who are watching. And I just want to say thank you all for joining us. We hope that you have gotten something from this segment. Just stay tuned because we have a long list of topics that we'll be talking about and covering. We'll be getting into resilience in May. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited. My friend Danielle Darty, she's an educator over 20 years, special education, ed specialist, all of that. And she'll be talking about resilience. And I'm excited for her to present. Yeah, and we'll just keep going from there. We have some conversations about, making friends, coming from a friend of mine, Tamara, and her daughter. They're going to just be talking about what friendship looks like, how to make those right decisions when you are, a little person trying to learn how to socialize and all of that, and to be a friend. So, yeah, we got a lot that's coming down the pipe. Stay with us. We hope that you are enjoying all this being shared, the information. Yeah, just stay with us. So, on that note, thank you all to the board of directors, to Pastor
Thank
Marvin, to
you. Thank
Catherine.
you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us,
Thank you.
Cynthia.
My
And thank
husband.
you.
Thank my children. Eva, LaShawn. All right. Love y'all.
All right.
Love y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening.
All right.
Bye.